Today, we're going to talk about the SIRUI K-30X Ball Head and whether it's the right choice for your landscape photography. So we're going to take a closer look at the SIRUI K-30X Ball Head, a little bit about the others in this comparable line from SIRUI, some of the features about this ball head, why I chose it, and what my initial thoughts are of it as we dive into it a little further. It's part of their K line, which is sort of towards their upper end of ball head line. They have models that range from the K10X all the way up to the K40X, with the primary differentiation being the size of the ball and the ball head. Size of the ball and the ball head impacts how much load capacity it can have. The larger the ball head, the higher the load capacity it can have. Of course, a larger ball in the ball head adds to the weight of the ball head itself. So when you're balancing factors, it's load capacity versus weight of the ball head itself, as well as a little bit of small height difference. Obviously, K10X ball heads are the smaller size, K40s are the larger side. This is a K30 up towards, second from the top as far as size. So this K30X ball head weighs 1.13 pounds. It has a load capacity of 66 pounds. Now, one thing to keep in mind with load capacity when figuring in on these ball heads, if you think your camera only weighs 10 pounds, so you're good, keep in mind when you start hanging a heavy lens off the front of it, that starts to put torque on the ball head. So that impacts the load it's actually seeing. So it's not necessarily the weight of the camera, it's the load it's gonna see. If you're on a DSLR with a 70-200 f2.8 lens and sort of hanging out there, that puts more load on it. So keep that in mind when you're judging load capacities, thinking, well, I'll never put a 66-pound camera up there. Think just about your stability when you've got things hanging off the front of the ball head. So that's one thing to keep in mind with that. The height of this ball head's 4 inches on top, from base to top. And this particular ball diameter is 44 millimeters in the K30X. The K30X has the typical standard ball head controls. It has a pan lock on it, so once you get your camera on there, if you do need to pan, just loosen this lever and you can pan the ball head. Has 2 levels, has a level at the top and a level on the side, so super handy on that front with the 2 levels. It has a lock for the Arca Swiss plate, which is what goes up on top. I like the Arca Swiss clamps for cameras and things like that. It's pretty universal, works with L brackets. I've talked about L brackets in other videos. This seamlessly works with an L bracket. I try to avoid proprietary clamps because it sort of ties me down. I like to be able to switch between brands as I see fit and not have to do massive refittings or be stuck to one brand. So I really like the Arca Swiss plates on top. It does come with a plate. It's not attached currently. It's attached to my video camera. It does have a lock, so it helps keep your camera from falling off if something were to come loose. This can go 90 degrees if you need it to. I highly recommend an L bracket. I've got a video on that to take a look. One of the most underestimated pieces of gear in landscape photography, the L bracket. I think it'd be way better than needing to rotate this 90 degrees, but it can do it if you need to. So the SIRUI does have a friction adjustment, and I actually like how it's done on this. Instead of having a second lever, a second knob, which a lot of ball heads do, it has a little thumb screw here that you can loosen here, set your friction level to where you want it so that the ball head is stable, and then you can tighten it back up. And what that does is if you ever unscrew this too far, your camera's not gonna suddenly flop over in the field. And that's something that can topple your tripod. So friction adjustment is important. And I think this, once you figure out how it works, is easy to use, easy to adjust. And what I really like about it, I'm always grabbing the wrong dial. So on my other tripods that have friction adjustments with a second knob, I end up grabbing the wrong one and now my friction adjustment's all off. This makes it nice and simple. We've got 2 knobs on here, the pan, lock, and to adjust the ball head. So super cool, really like that. I think it's a good feature of the thing. Not everyone does like it, but I do. So why the SIRUI K-30X? So when I was looking for a ball head, I'd swapped out tripods for my landscape photography because I was trying to lighten my load, keep something sturdy. So I got a new tripod and I wanted to pair it with a new ball head. I'm a little bit on the lazy side and I don't like to swap ball heads between tripods. And I knew I would have different usage needs for tripods. I just didn't want to get into swapping ball heads. At the same time, I didn't want to go out and spend a ton of money on a new ball head. So I started doing my research and found SIRUI's ball heads, specifically their K series, and the K30X seemed to keep coming up in good reviews. It had an attractive price point of right around $150. Has a load capacity of 66 pounds. Again, remember, keep the load capacity in mind. Don't forget to factor in the torque of what's on the top of it. And the weight wasn't too bad. So, it comes in around 1 pound. So any kind of tripod I find that's a travel tripod or anything like that, I just add a pound to it, you know, for weight when I'm comparing it to others and things like that. So after watching other YouTube videos, reading reviews online, the SIRUI K-30X seemed like a good balance to me. If I needed to carry more weight, maybe if I was still shooting DSLRs or shooting larger zoom lenses, I might have looked at the K40 version of this, but the K30 seemed to fit my needs just fine. So that's what I went with the K30X, predominantly on price, durability, and other favorable reviews on it that I'd read and seen online. And so far, I've been very happy with this ball head. I've been pairing it predominantly with my FLM CP30 S4 Mark II tripod. The two go in tandem very well. Put it up on top of that, works fine. I'm predominantly shooting Nikon mirrorless these days, a Z6 II, so I had no problems with that. And I have used anything from a 70 to 200 f2.8 lens on it to, you know, 14 to 30 millimeter lenses, and I've had no problem with it. This has made the travels here locally. It made the trip out to the Southwest with me recently. Had zero complaints, zero problems. Like I said, I really like the friction adjustment on this because it keeps me from grabbing the wrong knob when I'm trying to make adjustments, which I think just is perfect for when I'm in a hurry. Got the pan on it, which is great for the pan lock on it for panoramic photos, which is also nice. It's always a feature I look for. I don't think the weight is too bad for it. You know, a pound toss on top. The height gets me an extra 4 inches on top of my tripod, so it helps sort of bring my height of my tripod up to a level that's just about perfect. I'm 5'11", so I sort of looking to get just a little boost out of my FLM tripod, so it works good. So far, it seems durable and sturdy, no complaints. In a future video, we'll circle back after I've had more time with this ball head and we'll continue to report on its durability. But so far, I have no reason to believe that it's not going to be durable. So I think if you're looking for a ball head to go with a new tripod or you're not happy with what you have, the SIRUI K series is a great one to take a look at. Like I said, they range from a K10X all the way up to a K40X, depending on what your needs are. Maybe you're shooting micro four thirds or all the way up to DSLR. You can sort of figure out where you want to make that load capacity versus weight trade-off. I went with the K30 because while I shoot Nikon mirrorless, I do sometimes put the heavier zoom lens on the front, so I wanted a little bit of load capacity in there. So the SIRUI K30X seems to be a good choice. I'd definitely recommend taking a look at their line and seeing if it would work for you. So if you found today's video helpful, please hit that like button. It'd be much appreciated. And if you want to see future landscape photography content from me, including gear reviews, behind the scenes looks, and other thoughts on landscape photography in general, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any content. And thanks for watching today.